and that's where this comes in. TP-Link wanted to sponsor... Well... In this video, I'm going to upgrade my router. This has been something that I've been wanting to do for a while. If you watch my weekly streams, then you may have caught this past Black Friday where I was looking for router deals, but I ended up deciding to hold off because I didn't necessarily need it yet. But recently, I not only negotiated my internet price down with my local provider, but I also got a speed increase as well. So now I get 2 gig symmetric up and down for only $70 a month. I was just last month paying $100 for 1 gig symmetric. So moral of the story, call your internet provider and threaten to leave if they don't give you a better rate. Don't wait like I did and overpay for such a long time because of laziness. So I have faster internet now, but that's only part of the equation. The other part is the hardware to support it. I have been using my current router for about 5.5 years by this point. It's a TP-Link router, their AX21 Wi-Fi 6 that I bought with my own money back in December 2020, and it's been going strong ever since. If you look online, the general consensus seems to be that a router's lifespan is around 5 years. And the reason people generally upgrade are either because their model stopped getting firmware updates and they don't feel secure using it anymore, or they simply want a newer model for the latest tech. And that's where I am with my existing router. My router maxes out at 1 gigabit on its WAN port, and with my upgraded internet speed being 2 gigabit, that's a huge bottleneck, a 50% speed reduction if I keep my router. Also, pretty much all the phones and tablets in our home are Wi-Fi 7 compatible, so it wouldn't hurt to have a Wi-Fi 7 router to complement them. Who doesn't want faster Wi-Fi speeds on their phones for watching the highest quality content from their favorite website? You know what I'm talking about, don't you? So there's multiple reasons a router upgrade makes sense for me now, and that's where this comes in. TP-Link wanted to sponsor a video of me setting this up and showcasing it to you all, and as a longtime TP-Link customer of my own free will, of course I agreed. I get a bag while sharing a brand I've already been using for years unsponsored. Yes, please. This is their Archer BE600 tri-band router. You'll also see it labeled as BE9700 on the box and online, which can be a little confusing, but the actual model name is Archer BE600, and the BE9700 refers to its class and speed. In this case, BE means it supports 802.11be, aka Wi-Fi 7, and the 9700 refers to the combined theoretical maximum bandwidth across its 3 bands, adding up to about 9700 megabits per second. My 3 goals of this video are to unbox this, get it set up, and do some rudimentary tests with it. And disclaimer, I'm by no means a network expert. I'm actually a total noob when it comes to this stuff, and I actually hate having to troubleshoot network related issues, which is why I think I have gravitated to TP-Link over the years. They're competitively priced mainstream products that are pretty plug and play with minimal setup, perfect for someone like me who just wants something that works and works well. So yeah, let's get this opened and see what's inside. Alright, let's open this up. We are greeted with the router itself. So this is one of the most important parts of this BE600 router. Not necessarily that it's 10 gigabits. I only technically need it to be 2.5, but I guess this is some future proofing for me. And these ports are 2.5 each. So yeah, I think this should last me hopefully as long as my previous router did, or even longer. We do have a camera's definitely not gonna pick that up, but this is a Cat 6A cable, 3 feet. Yeah, I don't think I'll need this at all because all my other cables are going to be good for the 2 gigabit speed. This is going to be a power brick. Yep, power brick here. And then just some warranty cards and instructions, it looks like. Installation guide, I'm guessing is going to point... Oh, no. Yeah, there is an actual installation guide. We don't need no freaking instructions. So that was a pretty simple unboxing. There wasn't too much in the package, which I kind of prefer it that way. Keep it nice and simple. Let's go upstairs and replace my existing router with this new and improved one. Slowly planting the seed of getting them into tech at a very young age, and we'll see if their interest in it sticks by the time they're older or not. So this is where the router is located in our house. This is the girls' nursery. And if you see my older videos, you might remember this being my old office. And then during COVID, it became mine and Melissa's office to work from home. And then eventually I decided to move my entire desk setup and YouTube stuff all downstairs to the basement. This room is pretty much the furthest away from my desk setup in the basement as possible in our house. It's like the exact opposite side of the house and exact opposite corners almost. The reason we have the router in here is just because the original owners of the house They had the internet line running up to this room, and it just worked out when we first moved in here and used it as an office. This should be as simple as unplugging the old one and plugging in this new one, and then setting it up online, I guess on my computer, or it looks like I can do it on my phone. So let's do that. I see the router on my phone. It's that TP-Link C483. So let me connect to it real quick with the secret password that's on the bottom of the router. We are in. Now I need to set up a new password. Alright, so now I can set up the network name and password, so I think I should be able to just use my old ones and then all my devices should be able to connect to it, hopefully. Hopefully it's not a pain and I have to reset up everything. It's been so long since I've done a new router setup that I don't remember. Alright, I think I should be good to go. So I'm going to start testing this new router. I had already performed a series of tests with the old one, so I'm going to repeat those same exact tests and then we will go over the results before and after. Testing's all done. Now let's get into the before and after results. I'll explain each scenario I tested and how it's relevant to our household's day-to-day use. And for consistency, both routers were set up identically, set to the same settings, the same channels for each band. And I also tested everything multiple times to ensure that there weren't any outliers. And I'll show the median of each set of runs on the screen just so that you have a visual. But the first test I did was the wired Ethernet test on my own personal rig down here in the basement. Like I mentioned before, this is basically the furthest away from the router I can be in the house. There's just way too many walls and floors in between for the Wi-Fi signal to reach down here, but even if it did, I'd still want a hard line anyway. After the 2 gig speed upgrade with the old router, I was indeed capped at roughly 1 gigabit up and down due to the WAN port I mentioned at the beginning of the video. With the new router, the bottleneck is gone as expected, and I'm getting the full 2 gigs up and down, a little bit faster actually, around 2.1 gigs up and down. So that's awesome. I've got super fast internet at my disposal now, which is useful for doing things like downloading or patching games on Steam and uploading videos like this one that you're watching right now onto YouTube in a matter of seconds. Next, I tested the Wi-Fi performance in the living room. We spend a lot of time here with the girls, and when we have friends and family over, this is the main area everyone hangs out in with their phones connected to our Wi-Fi, and we've also got our TV here that's wirelessly connected for streaming shows and movies. Sometimes I connect my laptop or PC to the TV, so having fast Wi-Fi here is beneficial. The living room gets a stable connection on the 5 gigahertz band, so I tested that. And the results were pretty underwhelming on the old router, 140 down and 20 up. These results are likely due to the obstruction from the walls and floor it has to go through, as well as potentially signal interference and other channel congestion from wireless devices and routers nearby, like my neighbors and such. The new router does much better though, about doubling the download speed and noticeably improving the upload speed as well. And for a bonus test in the living room, the newer 6 gigahertz band from the new router does reach there as well. So I tested it, and the download speed nearly doubled that of the 5 gigahertz band. The upload speed did increase, but not as dramatically as the download did. Another key area for Wi-Fi performance is Melissa's home office, which is only one room over from where the router is located. She works from home a couple of days a week and often downloads and uploads files to her work server, so the faster and more stable the Wi-Fi is, the better. With the old router, we were seeing much better speeds than the living room, which can be explained by being much closer and on the same floor as the router. It was 400 down and 300 up, which is very usable for Melissa's needs. But with the new router, she's going to be able to download files 2.5 times faster and upload about 33% faster. And similar to the living room, her office does have a stable connection to the new 6 gigahertz band, and I was seeing an impressively fast 1600 megabits per second download, though the upload did not change much. It was roughly the same as the 5 gigahertz test. I also tested various spots around the house to see the 2.4 gigahertz performance, basically areas where the 6 and 5 gigahertz band do not reach or are unstable, and performance between the old and new router were very similar. Any differences I'd account for run-to-run variance. And to me, this makes sense because the 2.4 gigahertz band does reach the furthest and is the best with obstruction and like wall penetration. It's just lacking when it comes to overall speed, and that's why it's the bottleneck. The last test I did was actually with my mesh system, which uses these TP-Link Deco M5 pucks around my house. I bought these years ago primarily to expand Wi-Fi coverage in my basement because, like I said earlier, the signal from the router is pretty much non-existent down here. And this uses the Wi-Fi 5 standard, which is over a decade old by this point. So I was already expecting it to be the bottleneck regardless of if I was using the limited 1 gigabit speeds from the old router or the now new full 2 gigabit speeds with the new one. I use Ethernet backhaul with these, so they do get a hard line directly into one of these two ports to help them deliver the best wireless performance possible. But due to being older hardware, as well as, you know, being on an older standard Wi-Fi 5, I was seeing in the 400s up and down with both the old and new router. This is definitely the limiting factor, but for general wireless internet use down here, I think that's passable. Eventually, I think I'll update to a Wi-Fi 7 mesh system so that the Wi-Fi down here can be crazy fast as well, like in some of the other areas in the house. But, you know, for now, the priority areas such as my PC, Melissa's home office, and the living room, those all saw noticeable improvements. So overall, I'm happy with the results from the BE600. So there you have it. I've got a new router after 5.5 years of using my old one, and if that was anything to go by, I should hopefully be good with this new one well into 2030 and beyond. I'm curious for all of you watching at home though, what brand and model is your current router at the moment and how long have you been using it for? I would imagine most people are either on Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi 6E routers, but sound off in the comments what generation Wi-Fi standard you're on, and oh man, I'm actually really curious to see if anyone out there are using really old routers, like we're talking Wi-Fi 3 or 4 ones. And if you are in the US, what are your thoughts on the US government banning all new foreign-made routers? This router is not affected by that, nor are a ton of other routers that you can currently buy at the moment since they have already been approved. But it's going to be interesting to see what comes of all this for future routers. And I'm particularly curious to hear from those of you out there who are professionals in fields relating to networking and cybersecurity. Do you guys think the router ban is warranted, or do you think it's government overreach? Alright, that's going to be it for this one. I want to thank you all as always for watching and for continuing to support the channel. Thanks to TP-Link for sponsoring this video, and big thanks to the channel members for their above and beyond support. Be safe out there, and I'll see y'all down in the comments as well as next stream and or video. Bye.